Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Pontiac Podcast, powered by the GTO Association of America. And some big news today. We are proudly presented by Ames Performance Engineering. Ames has been a trusted source for Pontiac parts since 1976. Whether you're restoring a concourse winner, wrenching on a weekend cruiser, or just keeping your Pontiac on the road, Ames is your place. With outstanding quality, incredible customer service, and one of the largest inventories of Pontiac parts anywhere, Ames help keeps the Pontiac hobby alive. So visit Ames today online at www.amesperf.com. AMESPERF.com. All right, guys, we're back at it. We have another wonderful guest today, but before we do that, let's check in with Eric today and see what he's up to. Eric, how we doing?
I'm good, Kurt. Just heading up here to the Indian Uprising in Pontiac, Illinois. It's one of the events that the GTOA does, and I am going to go up there and see if I can get some new members.
That always sounds like fun. That's northwest of Chicago, and what's in store up there? What's on tap?
So they do feature cars. I think I don't have it memorized, but this year they're featuring the 65 GTO, and they're featuring Fieros of all years.
Okay.
They do advertise up to 500 cars. So hopefully it's a great show. There's no rain in schedules. So.
And you know I've got my wish list, Eric. If you're up there with all those Fiero people and you see any interior plastic parts for an 88 Formula Fiero, you know I need some, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's get on with the main course here of our podcast today. We've got on with us tonight Mr. Ron Chamness. Ron is an avid Pontiac man. He's had a bunch of Pontiacs, and most recently, that beautiful car behind him right there, 63 LeMans Super Duty, he just finished restoring. So we're going to throw it over to Ron now. Ron, how are you doing tonight?
Fine, thank you for asking.
Good. What was your first Pontiac?
My first Pontiac was a 1964 GTO I got in 1965.
A 1964 GTO. That's people that have listened to this podcast before have heard me talk about. That's my dream car. I love the 64 GTO. My dad has one, and I want one really badly. What color was your car?
My car was red.
It was red?
Red with red interior.
Red on red. Wow. 3 deuces, 4-speed?
Yes.
Just like this song, huh?
Pretty much like.
And somebody had told me that you'd owned about 50 Pontiacs probably in your life.
Yeah, my daughter Julie asked me the other day, and actually I did a count up, and I think I've had a little bit over 63.
63, which is the year of your car behind you. We're going to get into that. But before, when it was time to get that Pontiac, when you got that 64 GTO, why did you choose Pontiac? What was it about the car that stuck out to you?
Well, that's an interesting story. My first car was a 1960 Chevy Bel Air 2-door sedan, and whenever it was giving me some trouble, I went to a local used car lot, and they had 2 cars that had interested me. They had a bright red 61 Impala 2-door hardtop, 348, 3 2-barrel carburetors, and a 4-speed. And then they had the red 64 GTO 4-speed. And I was actually leaning towards getting the Chevy. And my brother said, well, why would you want to do that? They were the same price, and you can get a 3-year newer car by going with the Pontiac. So that's why I bought the Pontiac.
That's so wild hearing stories going to the car lots, and those are the types of cars on the lot. We go now, we have a red Honda Civic or a red Hyundai, and we have to pick which one we want, and the styling is just not there like it used to be, is it?
Not at all.
So 63 Pontiacs, which one kind of stands out to you as the one you wish you would have kept that you got rid of?
All my cars, well, needless to say, I would have liked to have kept my original 64 GTO, but it was stolen from me, I think, in 1968 when I was in the Air Force.
Wow. So you went off to serve your country and the car got stolen. It was never found?
They found it about 6 months in the swamps below Biloxi, Mississippi, and it was completely stripped down. All there was just a body hull.
Was that happening a lot back then?
Well, I think it still happens. It happens.
It still happens a lot. Yeah, it's crime is kind of something that's stayed steady over the years, but I didn't know about the taking cars and stripping them for car parts, if it was more prevalent then, or if that's something that's just kind of recently started. So, which one of the cars that you had got the most attention? Like when you were out in the town or out at the strip or cruising, which one got the most attention?
I think the original 64 because I drove it every day and I was a drag racer back then, so I had it at the track, and whenever I'd take it to the track, we'd get it all lettered up, so it got the most attention.
Did it? So we took that to the track and did some racing. Did we ever find ourselves on a 2-lane highway doing some racing back in the day?
More racing on the 2-lane highway than at the drag strip.
So take us through that a little bit, because that fascinates me. What did that look like back in the mid to late 60s if you wanted to test your car against someone else? How did that go about, and how did it get put together? There's no Facebook, so...
We always had a meeting place, either a Dog and Suds drive-in or somebody's service station, and all the guys with fast cars, after about 10 o'clock when the service station closed, we'd all meet there, and of course the Pontiac guys would badmouth the Chevy guys who'd badmouth the Dodge guys. You know, it was just a lot of going back and forth, and somebody'd think that they had a faster car than you, and they'd have to go out and prove it.
Ever any red or blue lights show up in your rear view when you're out testing?
Oh, yeah. Matter of fact, a few of them actually caught us, but most of the time we got away.
Most of the time you got away. Well, that's good to hear. Now, I know we haven't talked about the car behind you yet, but besides that car behind you, what was the rarest car you've owned up to this point?
The rarest car I ever had, well, I've had 69, 70, and 71 Judges. The rarest one would be I had a 71 Judge that was triple black, had a 455 HO motor, but it had a 3-speed manual transmission. And what makes it rare is there was only about a dozen of them made with the 3-speed, and it was rare because nobody wanted them back then. Everybody wanted the automatic or the 4-speed.
Right. But still, you start talking those kind of numbers, a collector would love to have that in their collection, wouldn't they?
Yes, matter of fact, I sold it to a collector.
Oh, did you? Now, since you've been a Pontiac guy since 64, you've had this unique perspective of seeing kind of how the hobby has transitioned from 1964 to here we are now, 2026. How have you noticed it changed from back in 1964 when people started first clamoring towards the Pontiac and especially the GTO till to now? How has it changed?
Well, it's a lot more expensive now than it was back then to get into the hobby, and I think that back then there was a lot of drivers, driver quality. For now, most of them have been restored and in better condition, and they take them to shows, and not as many of them are driven daily on the street.
Yeah, and that leads into my next question. The restorations you see today, I ran into you, the first time I met you was last year in Louisville at the Pokey Show. So I know you've been out to some of those shows and you've seen what the concourse cars look like now. The restorations on these cars, are these cars better now in today with the restorations than they were than those restorations that were completed back in the 90s?
They're much better now because used to you had to run to junkyard and get the best used part that you can find, where now we've got people like Ames and other people that we can get new parts and they fit well. Used to, if you bought a reproduction part, you was lucky if it fit, where now the stuff's much better quality. And
I'm guessing all that, the ease of finding those parts makes everything, just the restoration, just a lot easier. You're still putting elbow grease in, but just makes the hunt easier then.
Or it makes it much better whenever you can buy new sheet metal to put on the car instead of having to buy the rusty sheet metal and cut it off and weld it up and then put it on. It's much easier now and you get a better job.
Now, I know you just finished that restoration on the LeMans behind you. How many other cars have you personally had hand in restoring?
Several of the cars I bought them and sold them as is, but I've probably done at least 24 of them where I've, at least painted them and restored them and rebuilt the motors and put interiors in them.
Now, while you were going through that process, did you ever learn any lessons that you're like, man, I wish somebody would have told me about that so I didn't have to find out the hard way?
Yes, I used to buy Southern Illinois rusty cars, and here the last several years I've been going out to Nevada or California or Arizona to buy my sheet metal.
Yeah, makes a big difference if you get away from that rust belt, right?
Definitely.
Well, let's go ahead and shift now. Let's talk about the car that you have behind you. First of all, go ahead and tell everybody what that car actually is.
Okay, what it is a 63 Super Duty LeMans. But it is not one of the 6 that the factory built. The factory only built 6 of these white Super Duty LeMans with the 421 motor in it. And there's only 3 still in existence. The other 3 have been wrecked, so they don't exist. And one of the original 3 would be $1 million car. Needless to say, I'm not a millionaire, so I could not afford one of those cars. So I made.
Okay, and where did you find that car?
The car body came from Tucson, Arizona. The aluminum front end, I had a guy up in Nebraska make the aluminum front end, fenders, hoods, core support, and all of that. I had Jim Butler Performance down in Tennessee. They built me the original motor because I had the parts gathered up. I've been working on this car for over 15 years, gathering up parts and building it.
When you were kind of looking for a project to do, what drew you to the 63 Le Mans Super Duty? What made you want to create one?
Because it's the most rarest of the factory race cars, and prior to, back in 60, 61, 62, Pontiac was real heavy into drag racing and NASCAR racing. And the 63 Le Mans is the ultimate drag car. There would have been dozens of them made, but in January of 1963, GM pulled the plug on the racing program. So only, like I said, 6 of these Le Mans coupes. There were 6 wagons made, and then there was 2 prototypes, and that's all that they ever made. They had planned on making dozens of them, but GM pulled the plug on the racing program.
That's right, and that's why DeLorean had to sneak the GTO out the back door, right, with that option on the Le Mans?
That was it.
Was there a certain part? I know you said you had to have the doghouse custom built for you, but besides that, was there any other part on that car that was super hard to find when you were restoring it?
Pretty muchly most of the car is straight 63 Le Mans. Now they did several things on this car, like the steel front bumpers and rear bumper that's on it's half the thickness of the original, so I had to send my bumpers off to a friend of mine by the name of Scott Tiemann, and he sent them off and had them thinned. I think they acid dipped them to thin them and then had them re-chromed and stuff like that. But Arnie Beswick was a big help to me. I've known Arnie for years, and I built this car the way that he built the Tameless Tiger before he made the funny car out of it. He put a 57 Pontiac rear end under it and a turbo 400 transmission in it. So I built mine exactly the way that he told me he built his.
Have you got on the road and opened it up yet?
No, I've driven it some, but I think about as fast as I've got, it's about 45 miles an hour. 'Cause it's a trailer queen. It's as nice under the floorboards as it is on the roof. It was a rotisserized restoration.
Yeah, I remember when you pulled into Louisville at the Pokey Show last year. I think you were going through tech maybe, and we heard it coming up, and so Eric and I ran over there and immediately had the video cameras out and recording the saying you're starting it up and you're rolling and turning around to head over to the fairgrounds where the convention center where all the cars were housed, and it was just such a beautiful car. The white with the blue interior just really stands out. So
yeah, I really like it. I think Pontiac had a good eye for what the public would want.
Yep. What's your favorite detail on the car?
Probably the Super Duty 421 motor with the dual quads. The factory rated it at 405 horsepower, but Jim Butler's built the motor for me, and we dynoed it, and it's on a YouTube video, the motor, but it did 489 horsepower, and it is bone stock, just the way the factory built it. So that's how much the factory underrated them back then.
It is hard to go wrong with the Super Duty engine, isn't it?
It is.
So what's been your reaction? I know you've had it to a couple shows. Like I said, I saw it in Louisville last year. I saw it up in Norwalk a couple weeks ago. What's been your reaction from the people walking around the show looking at it? What kind of reaction they give you?
If it is a show where people know Pontiacs, it gets a fantastic reaction. If it's a local show in my hometown, they walk past it and all they see is a white 63 Le Mans. So if it's Pontiac people, they love it. If it's normal Ford people or Chevy people, they walk past it and don't see what they're looking at.
And let everybody know out there, what's your license plate say on the back?
Oh, pre-GTO.
Before the GTO. That's right. I love it. Pre-GTO.
Pre-GTO.
I thought it was very, very creative when I saw that. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. We've got a little segment on the show here. We call it the Judge's Chamber. Okay? And so this is a rapid fire question and answer. I'm going to ask you kind of either or questions, and I just want you to say the first thing that pops to your mind, and they're all fun and car related, okay? So
Okay.
we're headed into the Judge's Chamber here, Ron. All right, first question. What's your preference, 4-speed or automatic?
Automatic.
Factory steel wheels or aftermarket wheels?
Factory.
Original Survivor or Concourse Restored?
Survivor.
GTO or Firebird?
GTO.
Super Duty or Ram Air?
Super Duty.
Carousel Red or Starlight Black?
Starlight Black.
Ooh, I like that one too. Car shows or drag strips?
Drag strip.
All right. And if you could only have one Pontiac for the rest of your life, you could only have ever owned one car, which one would it be?
Probably a 1965 GTO.
What color would it be?
Probably black.
Okay. All right, Ron. You survived the summons. Congratulations. Thanks for playing along with us there. Ron, was your family involved in Pontiac at all? Or was it really that GTO that just got you hooked on the Pontiac name badge?
No, I'm the first one in my family to have a Pontiac, and you know, I was, even whenever I was a kid, I was a speed freak, and you know, I mean, I grew up on a farm chasing cows, so no, we had Oliver tractors, not Pontiacs.
Yeah. And you said you used to drag race that 64. What was your fastest time you've run on the drag strip?
It's been so long ago, I can't tell you. I don't remember.
Yeah. How about miles per hour on the street? How fast have you been in a Pontiac?
Oh, I had it where it was past the 120 mile an hour speed limit, and matter of fact, that's an interesting story. I was running down the interstate, top end, and against a friend of mine, and I threw a rod through the side of the block through my Pontiac.
Well, good thing you know how to work on them, right?
It is.
If you're going to play hard, you got to work hard.
It gave me the opportunity to replace the original 321 with a 421 motor.
It's a good upgrade. So you were just up at Norwalk, and we have a lot of people that listen here that maybe haven't been to Norwalk at the Ames Performance Tri-Power Nationals. What is your favorite part of that show?
Well, I like it all. I like the swap meets, I like the show, and I like the drag racing. The last couple of years I've done the show with this car behind me, but if I was still able, it would be the drag racing.
Yeah, been drag racing. It's just fun to be on the property because there's like your senses are going crazy because there's things to look at. You smell the burning rubber, you hear the cars going down the drag strip, and there's just lots of people and all they want to talk about with you is Pontiac, and that's just a breath of fresh air for guys like us, right?
It is.
Well, what else can you tell us about your Pontiac collection that maybe you've left out so far? Your Pontiac story. Anything else you want us to know?
Blue 69 GTO Judge it was Windward Blue Poly, which is a 1 year only color. And it was a loaded car. It's an automatic, but it was a Ram Air 3 car. It probably got more attention than any of the other cars I've got, just driving on the street and going to car shows. And it had a fresh paint job and fresh interior, but it was street drivable. I didn't have the underneath, rotisserized where you'd damage it by driving it. So it was probably the most fun car that I've driven.
Yeah. Well, I can tell that you've left a legacy of Pontiac. I saw your daughter at the show in Colorado at the GTO AA with a 64 GTO, and I'm assuming that's her car, correct?
Her car now.
It is now, but it was his. I got on the shirt that I did before that said Dad's GTO, I got dibs. And I did it long enough and I got the car.
I love it. So you've obviously passed the Pontiac. You passed the Pontiac name badge and the passion for it on to your daughter, and she has a car already. Have you inspired anybody else with your collection of cars to go out and drive a Pontiac or maybe even buy a Pontiac?
Well, I've got several friends that are all Pontiac fans. There's a couple of them that I've helped over the years that might not have been a Pontiac fan if I hadn't helped them restore their GTO and things like that. So, yeah, I hope I've inspired a few people.
Well,
I'm more of a talker than he is, and I wanted to tell a quick story. My favorite thing at Norwalk, and I took a quick picture of this, was guys coming over that are rebuilding a 63 Le Mans, coming with their pen and notebook and asking Dad all these questions and just sitting in front of him, writing down all these notes. And it was really fun seeing him passing this knowledge on to other people who are rebuilding the same thing.
Yeah, he was the resident Super Duty expert, and I'm sure there's a line of people that knows about these cars that are looking to get into maybe restoring one or maybe buy one and make sure it has the right parts set. Your knowledge is going to help them a lot. So passing that on is important. Well, you've had all these years of Pontiac underneath your belt. What has the hobby of these muscle cars, what has the hobby meant to you?
Well, the cars are much, much better than they were originally, and it brings a car community together. We made a lot of friends that I probably wouldn't have made if it wasn't for the Pontiac hobby, going to the shows and to the drag strips and stuff. So I've enjoyed it. It's basically been my life, as far as my adult life. That's what I wanted to do, and I've been fortunate enough to be able to do it.
Yep. Now, I like to use Eric as my example here because, and especially today since he's off camera and on mute, he can't fight me on this. But let's pretend Eric is ready to buy his first Pontiac, and he comes to you and he says, "All right, Ron, I'm ready to buy my first Pontiac. What advice can you give me before I go out and buy my first Pontiac?" What would you say to him?
Buy the best car that you can afford to buy. Don't buy a project car and figure, well, I can spend a little bit of money there and a little bit of here, because you'll probably get burned out before you get the car done. Buy the best car that you can afford.
I've seen a lot of stuff here recently talking about if you go out and you buy a car that's already restored, how much cheaper that is than actually going through a restoration from a kind of a rusty project all the way to being restored. They were talking about saving, it's almost half price sometimes. So I think that's very good advice.
And you're correct. You can probably save at least half by buying a car that somebody else got started on and lost interest in it, or they got done with it and decided they wanted to do something else, so they changed their mind. So like I said, buy the best car that you can afford.
Yep. All right, if we fast forward the clock 20 years from now, what do you hope the Pontiac hobby looks like in 20 years?
Well, actually, I hope it still exists since the last Pontiac was made in, I think, 2010 or something like that. And I hope that enough young people keep going to the Tri-Par Nationals or the conventions and get an interest in them. I'm fortunate I've got 3 kids, and I've got one of the 3 that's interested in Pontiac.
If that's Major League Baseball, that's 333, and you're in the Hall of Fame. So
There you go.
Ron, let's say that we're 20 years and ahead still. If somebody mentions the name Ron Chamness 20 years from now, what do you hope they remember about you?
I hope that they remember me being an elderly guy that was willing to help people if they needed help.
Yep. And I feel certain that's your 50 cars were important, but your character I think is what sets you apart. So, man, Ron, I can't thank you enough for being on here and talking about your car. I saw it in the Legend. Is it for sale right now?
It is. I'm at the point in my life that I'm getting rid of stuff. I don't want my wife to have to get rid of stuff whenever I'm gone. I'm the one that knows about it, so I'm the one that needs to get rid of the stuff.
Okay. Well, it's a beautiful car. I wish you luck in the sale. There's somebody out there that needs that in their garage.
I agree with you.
Eric, did you have something you want to add?
So I know you said you have the 63 and your daughter has the 64. Do you guys have any other Pontiacs? I don't know if I missed that or not. I was trying to scarf down some food real quick.
Right now, the only other Pontiac I have, my wife, she wanted a toy, and so we got her a little 2008 Pontiac Solstice convertible, and that's the only other Pontiac I own right now.
All right. Well, that's a lot of Pontiacs over the course of your life, and I can't wait to tell my wife. She thinks 8 is too many, so I'm going to tell her that you have me beat, and I have a long way to go before I catch you, so I appreciate that.
Thank you for
Ron, anything else you want to add before we close this episode down?
Yeah, not that I can think of.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to jump on. I appreciate your daughter helping facilitate and communicate with us and make sure. I know sometimes that we've had, knock on wood, we've had really good luck with no technical difficulties. So she did a good job setting you up, and it's been an honor hearing about your cars and hearing your Pontiac story. I think you've inspired a lot of people.
Well, like I said, I hope people remember me as being a Pontiac enthusiast.
That's what you are, big time. 63 Pontiacs. All right, Eric, if you don't mind, jump back on here and let everybody know where to go to get a copy of the Legend if they want to get the information on that car that's for sale right behind Mr. Ron.
They can go to gtoaa.org. And if you're not a member, you could go to the membership page and sign up to become a member.
How much is that membership?
$45 a year.
$45 for the year. Get you the Legend, get you access to all the tech advisors that we have on there. So if you're restoring a car, it's almost a must-have.
It's one of the best magazines. It's been nominated numerous times for all kinds of awards and won several of them. So if you're not receiving that, make sure you get that.
All right, Eric, we're going to wish you safe travels. We'll let you get back to driving so you can keep your eyes on the road and your mind on all those cars you're going to see. Get lots of video and pictures for us, and we'll be posting on our Facebook page, Pontiac Podcast on Facebook. Lots of updates about shows, lots of pictures, lots of videos, so make sure you follow us there, and on TikTok at Pontiac Podcast. As always, thanks to our sponsor, Ames Performance Engineering. You can find them online at amesperf.com. If you have a Pontiac, you need parts, they have it. So, until next time, guys, we appreciate you listening. Thanks for following along with us. And keep the shiny side up and keep those Pontiacs rolling.
Garage door shuts, engines rest. Next episode, man, it'll be the best.